This video will demonstrate creating physical zones, managing zones, and working with zones from within the Allegro PCB Editor. Let's take a look at our board stack up first before we get into the actual creation of zones. Primarily to look at the fact that we do have several stack ups created, Flex 1, Flex 2, Flex 3, and we'll use them in the zone creation process. So I'm going to create a zone in this general left-hand area. To create a zone, use the command setup, zones, create. We'll look at our options folder tab. This is going to give information. We can say what the name of the zone is, but stack up we want to go. We can assign it to a constraint region or a room. In this case, I want to assign this to the stack up, Flex 1. And now I just want to draw in a shape. So since I want basically I want the zone to look like this area over here. So I'm going to do a right mouse button, add shape, and then just click on the coordinates. I want it to be real exact. It will snap to the board design outline. So we'll do something like that. Since we want it again to be on this mainly on this curved area. And I can do right mouse button, close shape. And you can see it basically assigned it to that board outline area. And you also put in zone 1 there. That was the name of that zone. Right, let's add another one, zone 2. So we're going to assign this zone 2 to the cross-section Flex 2. And I want it to be in this little area right in here. So let me zoom in there. And again, since the system will snap to the outline, I don't necessarily have to draw it in again exactly. So I'm going to do a right mouse button, add rectangle, and basically draw it in something like this. Go from there to there. And again, you notice it snapped to the board outline or the design outline, gave that the name of zone 2. Finally, zone 3 is going to be basically down at the bottom section of this area, down in here. Let me zoom in a little closer. I want that zone to assign to the stack up Flex 1. I'll change that to Flex 1. And I'm going to draw in the outline as a shape. So I'm going to start here, going down through here. Whoops. And then I can do a closed shape. And there you can see it says zone 3. Now if we look at this last shape I just added in, this last zone, we can see it went a little bit above the curve. I really want it to be kind of snapped across the curve. So we can modify that pretty easily. We need to be in the shape edit application mode. So I'll select down here and go into shape edit. And there's going to be a toggle here in the options window called enable zone boundary editing. And you have that turned on. That means I can now modify these zones through all the shape edit application mode commands. Notice that my drag right now on a segment is set to slide. So I just pick and drag this down. I can have that slide to the edge of the board outline a little better. Let's suppose we want to make some modifications to some of these zone names and things like that. We'll use the setup zones manage command. That brings up the zone manager. So suppose like this zone 3, I really didn't want that assigned to Flex 1. I wanted that to be assigned to the stack up Flex 3. So I can just select there and say Flex 3. And always make sure you hit the apply button after doing that. I could also change this name from zone 3 to something more appropriate or meaningful, like bottom underscore right. Again, hit the apply button. And if I look in the canvas, we zoom in down here. Notice that name has been changed to bottom right to match that. And the only way to delete zones are through this menu. So I suppose zone 2 I really didn't want. That's the one that's in the middle up here. There's zone 2. To delete that, I'll just select this little button here under the select column, and then I'll hit the delete button. And we notice now that that zone is gone. This concludes the video that demonstrated creating physical zones, managing zones, and working with zones from within the Allegro PCB Editor.